My name is Gustavo Keener. I'm a banner DBA for WVNet, and this presentation of Windows Desktop Organization, I remember reading the description recently. It had a lot of stuff that might be a little bit more theses than I could prove, but I'll do my best. What I can show you is what helps me with my version of adult ADHD to keep everything as organized as I can while I'm doing my day-to-day. The main principles that I have are minimalism and avoidance of notification fatigue. Notification fatigue is something that I don't know all the studies on it, but I've read a little bit about it. There's a lot. I don't have any citations for this either, by the way. This is entirely an anecdotal presentation. Let's see, I'll be covering roughly 12 apps. All of them are, and I'm hoping that my experience helps someone else because it is incredibly difficult to be organized when you're when the front part of your brain isn't really helping you out that much. I should describe a little bit about what ADHD is and specifically what it is for me. Everyone is different. The key thing to know about ADHD, which is attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, is that it affects like, I think about 5% of the population, roughly. Like it depends on how you measure it. DSM-4 or DSM-5, I think they're up to now. They measure about 7%, I think. This is all on Wikipedia, by the way. What was the other one? The international something. They measure a little bit less. Their criteria, I guess, is more selective for ADHD. So it is an issue with dopamine production. It is genetic for the most part. I think it can also probably come from certain types of TBIs and whatnot, so traumatic brain injuries. The symptoms of it, which are things that everyone experiences from time to time, are things that for an ADHD person, for someone like me, without the proper medical treatment, become impossibilities. Like it's like, I don't know how to express it. It's just like waking up always feeling like crap a little bit for me. Without the proper treatment, and very easy to burn out, stuff like that. But let me just go through the list because it's easy. Difficulty organizing tasks and activities. Careless mistakes without attention to detail. Difficulty paying attention to tasks. Seems not to listen when spoken to. Fails to follow through on instructions. This is my cat, Sadie. And she is my professional familiar. Difficulty paying attention to tasks, seems not to listen, fails to follow through on instructions, chores, work duties. So I try to minimize, in terms of that, just personally, I try to minimize what, if you, I'm sorry, puppy cat. Anyway, she's cute. Let's see, tasks requiring sustained mental effort can be difficult to impossible. And there are exceptions, like, but often we lose things necessary for our tasks or activities, like going to dig a ditch without a shovel type of a thing. But with all the gloves and everything else, like a hard hat, I don't know. You get the picture. Easily distracted by other things, and I've kind of been demonstrating that live, so you're welcome. Forgetful in daily activities. So like forgetting errands, forgetting to return calls, paying bills, lots of late bills in my history, and trying to keep appointments, lots of missed doctor appointments. And it's to the, like, yeah, neurotypicals have the same thing, but it's not debilitating is the key, I think. For ADHD, for it to be ADHD, it kind of, it does need to affect your daily life. And for me, it has. It's been decades of stutter starting my career Let's see. So Windows desktop organization. We're only 5 minutes in, and we're already to the topic. So what I do requires a Microsoft account to sync between devices. I'm not going to demo that. I thought I was going to be able to do that, but I forgot what password I put for this, so which incidentally, as an IT person, forgetting a password for something and not keeping it inside a password safe. Apps chosen for simplicity. Okay, yeah, everything that I have for Windows is the default Microsoft. It's chosen for simplicity. And most of them are free or open source free. So be sure to donate. Let's see. First is email. That's the most important thing I use every day. And with that, I just have mail. I use Windows Mail for my Outlook at work as well. I don't have it connected for work because I wanted this to not display any intellectual property that isn't mine to share. But oh, poor kitty. But that's the primary one. It has very few buttons. I can still create rules to filter things out. Like for WBNet, we have a lot of alerts that come in on services. So if I throw those usually into my other inbox, which doesn't have anything in this case, but I'm sure you've seen this app. The next one, and it's kind of obvious, I just go in order down here, by the way, too, and I do keep these apps in order of how I use them. And so first is mail. That's my go-to for everything. Then my calendar, which you can see here that I have a reminder to work in 21 minutes. This comes up on my watch and through my phone. It comes up on my watch and gives me a little buzz. Then I have an alarm that I set alarms because those can definitely grab my attention. Those are guaranteed to overcome any kind of notification fatigue I might have. And then, but these little reminders help. And for me, sometimes I need reminders to eat lunch, which is not shown here, but that's in my real life calendar. And down here, I have something that is also on my real life calendar, my review workday notes and prepare for the next day. So calendar, again, the reason I choose it is because it's so simple. And you can make it look pretty. I have a different color for my regular one, but blue's good. Let people access your calendar. I literally don't care with this, buddy. So jeepers, did I not click people? Oh, I don't need people. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Cat. You don't know it's a good presentation unless you have a cat. Let's see, let's go to Microsoft To Do because that's the next important one. And which also, by the way, is down here. I just forget. Everything I do also, by the way, there's other ways to do it. Like I tend to be a keyboard jockey, so I touch type, which makes it easy to Control Tab, Alt Tab, whatever through my apps or fields inside an app. Tasks, oh yeah, send email to this account for demonstration. I did that yesterday. Create example appointments, create example to-do tasks, set up the demo default with example notes. I kind of did that. And I kind of already set we're doing the to-do tasks, and then I did create the example appointment. So I've completed 4 tasks today. Microsoft To Do I use for the little tasks that, like anything that takes longer than 2 minutes. This goes along, like I try to base what I do a little bit on the getting things done by that guy that wrote Getting Things Done, which is a self-help book about getting things done. let's see, Obsidian, oh, to do, yeah. To do is for tasks longer than a minute. Turn off that keyboard for heaven's sakes. And hit enter. That's from my cat. My cat wanted this task done. Now it's done. For instance, to-do tasks that I would write down if I need to call someone, if I need to get a cat off my desk, I might, and if it's going to take me longer than 5 minutes to do that, then I'll throw that into Microsoft To Do as a little project thingy. And in general, just getting things done, basic rundown. If it's longer than 2 minutes, throw it into your inbox, the things that you need to do. If it's going to take you longer than 2 minutes, or if you get like 32-minute tasks to do, throw those into it so that you don't forget every last little bit of them. My real to do, I'm just going to look on it over here on my second monitor, which is slow. I didn't expect it to be slow. But my real Microsoft To Do has more stuff in it. Obsidian. Okay, next one. Yes, just going in the order of the taskbar. Which incidentally, for Windows desktop organization, your taskbar should be only apps that you use all the time. If you're pinning everything to the taskbar, in my opinion, and especially with the way my brain works, if it's more than this many things, probably it's a little bit too much. I should mention, just as an aside, because it's important, this screen right now is at 1600 by 900. That's the same aspect ratio as a standard HD. But I did that so that you'd be able to hopefully see everything clearly. Okay, good. Looks like we have 13 viewers. And by the way, hi, all of you. Let's click on that for now before I go to my notes again. There we go. Obsidian To Do, task learn in 2 minutes. Next, Obsidian. Okay. So Obsidian is, yeah, it's this app. And they call it a second brain for you forever. It is just a standard Windows app, or you can run it on Mac or anything. It's based on the Electron Node.js app platform, which doesn't do mobile. I think they're trying to do that. Anyway, so lots of words. Keyword is Obsidian. It's a really nice tool for managing notes. And it allows you to take them in Markdown, which I'm showing here. Let me just show you what it looks like presenting. This is the default theme of Obsidian. I have a much prettier theme, but it's also super customized, so I kind of didn't want to show it and not make it a big ego trip. So let's click on yesterday's note, and then I go to yesterday's note. And if I look at it here, you can see the Markdown behind that. These are wiki style Markdown links is what they're called. And I think that the Markdown flavor that Obsidian uses is GitHub flavor for anyone who does all the technical stuff and knows all those words. The key thing about it for me is that it allows me the same thing as OneNote does, and OneNote used to be my go-to app for notes, but I can sync it across devices using a GitHub repository. So for a IT geek like me with a software development background, it works. For I don't know, it might not work for everyone, but Obsidian, it's I love it. Like I love all the different types of theming that I'm not going to demonstrate that it has, and I can link between notes. I can use. Let me just demo that. I can use tags. Thing. Let's do an app that I heard about yesterday. I think thing link or link thing. I'm going to type link thing. And let's say I want to categorize that. I'll do app link thing. Delete this one so I don't get confused later. What? Oh, there you go. Okay, shift home, delete. All right, and maybe I'm talking about an app somewhere just generally, blah, blah, blah. So here's how the tags work on Obsidian. You can do subtags, and this comes up in your tag tree as, oh, I don't have a tag tree here. Preparation, okay. Folks with ADHD are not great at preparation, but I apologize. Let's see, Windows Terminal, that one's not next. I went through the demo note. It's portable, plain text, allows note taking, duh. All right, next one is Visual Studio Code. So demoing things that I find simple to work with. This is another one that maybe might not be as handy for other people. I'm demoing it in the high contrast setting because that's what works best for me typically. And you know, I'm showing you my notes that I'm looking through to present right now. Visual Studio Code is multi-platform. It has the capability to do some of the same things as Obsidian. Excuse me again. Jeepers. So overlaps with Obsidian has, it can also synchronize through your Microsoft account, which is handy if you don't want to have to remember settings between devices. You can also turn off settings. Like if you want to keep something local, you can do that. Let's see, sync through your MS account, basic, extensible text editor. Yes, it has theming, and you can do custom key bindings, which I always do Vim, VIM, and that's a text editor for geeks, mostly. You either love it or hate it, pretty much. I love it. And on the Banner DBA team, Ed also does. Windows Terminal, yeah, that's the next one. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this one. This is Windows Terminal Preview. On the real laptop, I use just regular Windows Terminal. And here you can see that I'm using Linux and then, oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's with Windows Terminal, you can access PowerShell, command line, all that stuff. I don't think that's as handy generally for folks in this conference necessarily, but if you do like doing command line stuff, Windows Terminal is great, especially if, for instance, I use it a lot for, I don't use PuTTY, which is the typical thing for Windows users to get to a Linux machine remotely, but I do use just typical SSH, which isn't set up on this or on that machine that's sitting right there. Next, I want to get to the web browsing because I think that's maybe one of the things that I've figured out by convention. If you can do by convention, especially if you do have ADHD or know other adults with it, which you do, know other adults. So you do know other adults with ADHD, chances are. I use my browsing apps to really organize what I'm doing. So I need to cough briefly, so I'm just going to turn off the camera. Where's that thingy? And pardon for the respite here, but there we go. Links, I click go here. Oh, yeah. This is my default browser. It's Microsoft Edge, and what I'm demoing is using the guest account to open links. Like if I click a link within an email, there we go, like that, which will go to email in this case. But if I click a link like in an email, it will open in here and just tab extra tabs. It'll add extra tabs. And I use I don't in real life use the guest profile. In this case, I'm using the guest profile just because it's what was convenient. My browser that I use on my day-to-day is just Microsoft Edge with this my regular account in not the demo. But what I do here is links that I want to read later and that I don't want to close too quickly because they need review. So links that I click immediately, just fill out here, and then the goal is close them out as quickly as I can. Like the end goal is to not see that down there. Oh, come on, buddy. There you go. See, gone. But then if I need to look up Oracle DB alter statement, which I do know this, by the way. It's just I'm not saying that I haven't had to look it up before. Always have to. In fact, I find any type of programming language I know, I do always have to refresh on what it actually is and how to type everything. But so this is an example of something that maybe I'm reading through. I want to go through later. This thing can stay open, whatever. If I close it, I do make sure in settings that I have this import profile. Oh heavens, where you got your thing? All right, let's put that on the shelf. People with ADHD have a tough time putting things on the shelf sometimes. Okay, fine. I'll let that go. But what I was wanting to say is that the setting is start from where I left off, something like that. It's in Google Chrome too. And in fact, one of the other ways that I've done this, the browser idea of just having like links that I click are in one browser, like say Google Chrome, and then links that I actually want to look at again, I copy them from the address bar in Chrome, throw them into Edge, and then I'll read them later. Or create a collection, all sorts of stuff that I'm, I reckon, not going to discuss here. Because we're a little bit more than halfway through, I think. Let me see. Yeah, technically we're halfway through this presentation. I can tell you real life, I can talk forever. So that's web browsing. Yep. Custom apps. Holy moly. I was about to skip this. Good. So let me demonstrate a cool thing that you can do that many of you probably already know. Aside from having these tabs, turn on vertical tabs, you can switch them from horizontal to vertical in MS, Microsoft Edge, and Chrome nowadays, I think, has a similar feature. You can also do this little thing, which is a trick that I like to do. Oz, let's see if I can get to, what is the Oz address? Preparation. Oh, come on, little buddy. Oh, I turned off the keyboard because the cat was stepping on it. All right, Oz. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's the address. Got it. I forget. So oz5.wnet.edu, and I will go to oz51, which is wnet oz. I won't log in right now, but I can do what I want to do to demonstrate this simple thing about Microsoft Edge that for desktop organization with all the things that come with ADHD, it's helpful for it. So here we go, more tools. So I click on the horizontal ellipsis, go to more tools. Oh, nope. Horizontal ellipsis. Go down to apps, like the 6th, 7th thing down, and then click install this site as an app. And it's WNet Oz problem tracking system. Maybe I just want to call it Oz, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'll click that, click install. It'll install, and what that means is that you get a little taskbar icon that you can have here. Now I have another example of this where I've actually created an app for the Lucian Customer Center. And app is loose. It's just, I mean, you could accomplish the same kind of thing by changing some Windows settings behavior for the Alt-Tab setting, switching between apps like this. Another thing I meant to go over, Alt-Tab is useful for desktop organization because you can switch between apps by holding down the Alt key and hitting Tab. I think everybody knows that, but for those of you who don't, that's it. The other thing is Windows Tab, which gives you, it's called the task view, and you can see that here. So I'm hoping that most of that's coming through clear. I'm not looking at that your window immediately right now. So that's my Illusion Customer Center app. So say you have, you need to go to Mac, like MACC. I think, I'm positive that's still a thing. Or say you're DHHR and you need have an Oasis app you want to do. My Apps app is on my work desktop as one of these Microsoft Edge applications. By the way, they did steal that from Google Chrome, as with everything with Microsoft Edge, which is whatever. If you're building something better, great. Or, okay, better as a word I use very loosely. I really don't have an opinion on what is or isn't. Another thing about Windows 10 personal desktop organization is that I don't care if it's Windows 10. Like if I have a MacBook, I'm going to use it just as well for work as I do the Windows 10 machine. If I get a Linux laptop, which I think those are rather pricey, but whatever. Then, or a Chromebook, same thing. Like I should, the idea behind my personal organization, which maybe would have been nice to mention at the start of this, is that I can do it on anywhere. I can go into a Chrome web browser, and if I wanted to, I could use a Chromebook even to do everything I do for work. And I'm pretty sure that's true right now, because I mean, I just try to make it so. Custom apps, we demoed that. Okay, we're getting down to the last little bits here. Microsoft Store. Okay, that was pinned for just temporary because I don't keep the store in my pins. These was my notes. And now we are to Slack and Teams. There we go. I don't have Teams installed on this where I can use it, but Slack I do. I created this demo channel inside a Slack workspace that I just created for my own purposes. From this workspace, Slack workspace, I can use like the Outlook integration with my Outlook.com personal account. That comes in handy for those reminders and whatnot that I mentioned, because another thing with ADHD for myself that I find as an adult is that the more reminders I can stagger, or like if it's something that I know I'm going to have a hard time starting, I want to keep, like, if I get one reminder and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get to that later, I'll never get to it later. My brain won't help me do that. It won't, like, oh, did you forget that thing? It's here and now. This is what it is. It's a very now moment kind of illness, and it yeah, it makes conversations difficult even sometimes. You know, holding one's or being able to pay attention to a conversation all the way through hasn't been something I've probably ever been able to do. Let's see, Slack, Teams, instant communication. Yeah, okay, whatever. Also for notes, also for WVNet, we have an app called Cards, which if I had it here, I'd be able to show you, but pretend it is. So I just tap /card, and then I would tap remote, and then I would be online remote. I might have forgot to do that this morning. I was busy getting ready. ShareX is the next one. So it's Teams, Slack for instant communications. Anything works. Again, Google Chat, Hangouts, FaceTime, Skype, been there, done that, easy, and useful. ShareX. Oh, good. Yeah. Okay, so ShareX is the next excellent app for personal desktop organization. And there's a really good and easy reason for it, because it's free. I need to donate still. I will. It's on my to-do list, and I'll just have to add more to the amount when I get to it. But download for free, run it. This is what it looks like. What's a newer version? No, not right now, but I do want to show you. So this is I used the default ShareX. And I used the default ShareX, and it allows you to take a screenshot from a portion of your screen, or take a video capture of the screen, whatever you want, depending on how good your computer is, honestly. And then you can annotate. The annotations maybe aren't snap it or snag it. Snag it is the best paid for solution for this that I know of for screen capturing and sharing. Because like when you're communicating, if I did need to tell you to, for instance, in order to get this website to work, what are you doing? Are you sure what to upload? Yeah, I don't care. Literally, just what are you doing? It's doing it differently than my regular desktop. I must have some custom settings that I forgot here. Heavens. Oh. I should have transferred my settings. That's all right. Let me see if I can get to what I wanted to show you, which is the annotations. Simple. Screenshots folder. And nope, that's not it. It might look like voodoo, but it's not. Save full screen, monitor application settings. I know how to do this. Come on, buddy. Tools. Yes. All right, tools, image editor. Okay, let's open image file, Control L, copy, Control C to copy. That's what I did, Control L to get to the address, Control C copy, AltTab, get back to where I was. Click open image file, hit Control V to paste that in there, click open, and I'll just open the folder, double click the image. All right, now I get to demo, but in my regular work computer, this app just, as soon as I take a screenshot, it goes to this screen. So imagine that happened. And then I'm going to say, hey, in order to get ShareX to work, you're going to have to hit the refresh button. Refresh for the win. Okay. Ugh, I don't like red. Mine is prettier. But this is functional and it serves its purpose. I'm done editing. I just wanted to annotate that one thing. Click enter for that. I think it might put it in my clipboard, Windows clipboard, and if so, I'm going to be able to paste it somewhere. And I just did a few things while I was saying that, so I'll say what I did. First, to bring up this teeny window, I hit Windows key and then R for run. So Win key run, and then I type in what I want to get to, which is MS Paint, and click OK. Or hit enter on the keyboard, which is what I usually do. And then MS Paint opens up. This is the basic Paint app that has been with Windows since, I don't know, maybe since 3.1. I was around for that. So I thought that I was going to be able to paste the image in here. It didn't put it on my clipboard like I thought it did. So what do I do? So we covered ShareX. I mentioned the WinR key for running apps. The next thing that is exceptionally handy for my day-to-day is this app. It's called Ditto. You can get it from the Microsoft Store if you want to. You can also download it from the website if you want to. I use the website version, I believe, and that's because I suppose it's more portable. I don't have evidence. I just think that. So maybe it is, maybe it ain't. What it does, though, this Ditto app, DITTO, looks like a little double quote in dark blue background. It keeps all of the things you're pasting, copying, pasting. For instance, wow, look at that. Oh, okay, well, I can paste that somewhere. I'm going to open up Notepad now. That was Windows R, and now I'm typing in Notepad because I like doing that instead of looking for it through this like start menu. Which start menu I have full screen because I find that to be more useful than and less distracting than just opening it in the corner there, and I've got all the other stuff going on. Windows Dock or OS X Dock, in my opinion, does a better job of that stuff, but it seems like Windows 11 is going that direction too. So I pasted something. Imagine that. I think I lost my train of thought. ADHD in action, people, I'm telling you. So next, custom apps, Slack team, ShareX. Yes, I'm down to the last one. Let's see, I think. And then if anyone has any questions or would like to ask me about things, that would be fine too. And then I'm not going to demo the entire Bitwarden app. My password is very long, and I'm not. It just feels like extra silliness to black this out and then log in. I do use Bitwarden though for my password management. Before that, I used LastPass, and excuse me, just and then before that, I used a program called KeePass, which is spelled KeePass. Let's see, password safe management. This password safes in general, if you work and do emails, appointments, phone calls, probably should be using a password safe. And especially if you're using company group company accounts, if you have like one single login for something, probably should be in a password safe. And I say that, but I say that casually as if it were easy to do, which it's not. Even on a personal level, if I were to log into this thing, you would see I don't have personal desktop organization applied to that. I'll just need to find the spoons later for anyone who's familiar with that spoon theory, I believe is what it's called. Google it. That should more or less cover what I wanted to cover. So let's rewind. And especially because as someone with ADHD, I tend to put the cart before the horse quite often. My brain thinks that way. I call it if you're familiar with like Scheme, Lisp, maybe that Scratch language I heard about yesterday, which I haven't looked into. Then they use prefix notation. I have a postfix brain. It gives you all the arguments, and then at the end it says, oh, I want you to multiply those. So for 222, I'd put the x for multiplication at the end, and then it would give me, that's 8. 2 times 2 times 2, I mean. Anything else? Oh, summary. Windows desktop organization. So everything I chose and have demoed, I picked because it's the simplest I can think to keep it. And that applies to email, my calendar stuff, the Microsoft To Do, which I can view on my phone and whatnot, which is the main reason I use it. It's one of the few solutions I'm keeping where I don't have full access to what I'm like. I don't have the text. I don't have my data to where I could export it, throw it wherever I want. Anyway, Microsoft To Do. Then there's Obsidian, which I use for note taking. I find it very useful. It's especially useful if like lots of people use this to develop literature, publish documents, journals, whatever research papers. I think for most people who write, it could be useful. I don't use it for its intended purpose. So if you do look up Obsidian MD, there's just a lot of ideas in there that you could maybe use for yourself. Then there's Visual Studio Code, which I use for basic text editing, Windows Terminal to do like the things that most people do with like FileZilla or Putty. I just have one app and I type things with the keyboard. Anything else? Oh, the custom web apps. There is one other thing I forgot. Thank heavens. Good. Firefox is here. I didn't click on it. Firefox is my, no, Firefox is my, in real life on my work computer, is my default browser for Banner. If I need to go to a Banner instance, I use Firefox. There is one reason for that, and it's because I don't use Firefox otherwise. I don't use it to browse my personal sites. I don't use it for email. I don't use it for anything other than just the websites that that I really need to work. You could pick Chrome as that kind of an app. You could have a profile in Microsoft Edge that could do that for you, or a profile in Google Chrome. But I find just using a completely separate browser application like Firefox is useful for me. The reason why I use it for Banner, though, is that I don't have any plugins, extensions, or custom theming that would likely conflict with how picky some of these very complex enterprise resource planning web applications can become. And some of their resource handling is less than ideal, to put it mildly, especially for those with satellite connection or high latency internet connections. So I forgot about Firefox. We covered custom web apps that are handy just for pages that you're constantly visiting. If you're using it as a reference, like for instance, for these on my regular desktop, which you can't see, I'm looking at it. I have a web app for this conference. I have a web app for presentation that I was moderating yesterday with for awesome apps for education. Let's see. Then, yeah, my brain is slowing down. This happens too. Let's say custom web apps. That's not the something. Notepad. I'm using Alt F4 to close that. Don't save. Let's see. And then Bitwarden. ShareX is a big one. I use that all the time. Maybe not daily, but anytime that I need to be sharing an image with someone or showing what is going on, typically it's what is going on wrong, then I take a picture. If it's an instructional document I need to make, then again, ShareX, really useful with like just a Windows, Microsoft Word. Speaking of which, this is the personal laptop, so it's a little different, and especially with this demo account. Oh, wrong thing. Okay, let's do that. There you go, buddy. All right. So this is just all the stuff I have here on this default Windows desktop, and that's kind of it. Like nothing that I've presented is what needs to be or has to be. It's literally anecdotal preferences. Some of it is based on what I've read to be helpful for people with ADHD. Some of it is just what has felt right for me personally. So hopefully if it's helpful for you, then that is great. And if not, that's also okay. That's how life is. Where is the presentation thingy? Stop sharing. I'm going to go ahead and click stop sharing on that screen. And there we go. Hit up. Good. Yeah, we're right at the end here. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, there should be a button to ask to share your video, audio, and Tiffany can let you through. I haven't checked the chat, so I'm going to do that right now and see if anybody has. Cool. People. Okay, so we're down to 2. Oh, never mind. There I am being silly. I think, yeah, that kind of covers it. I really hope this has been helpful. So many people have presented the applications that have been useful for education, which I've been exceptionally impressed by. Wow. Like some of them, like this tool to manage reading assignments and materials, I guess curricula. I don't know if that fits into that word, but you know, all the literature you got to share and being able to annotate it and whatnot on the website, mobile compatible, everything like that. There was the demonstration I moderated yesterday was amazing. So this one is just, I guess, piggybacking off of that, but minus the research. It's literally just me figuring out what conventions work for me. And something I would like to mention is that, yeah, the less amount of notifications I can have, the better, typically. And I think that applies to most people, but for me, it's like a necessity if because any distraction is can be derailing. I know people who have to close their office door for that exact reason. Like, I know you want to stop by and visit, but I don't think there's anything else to present here. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being at this conference with WVNet and all the members of the West Virginia State Technology Conference Committee. I know that I've really appreciated what I've seen here, and I hope I've added to that in a good way. So have a good one, and see you again sometime.
Thank you, Gus.
Thanks.